Hello and welcome to the podcast. In this episode, I wanted to talk about social media and its dangerous addictive qualities. I had intended to record this video yesterday, but I just got so engrossed in checking who had commented and liked the last video. To begin, I'm going to quote from this article, link in the description, which is from Stanford Medicine's Scope by Bruce Goldman. And the curious title, it says here, of Stanford psychiatrists Anna Lembke's book, Dopamine Nation, Finding Balance in the Age of Indulgence, pays tribute to the crucial and often destructive role that dopamine plays in modern society. And you've probably heard about dopamine before from this article. It says, dopamine, the main chemical involved in addiction, is secreted from certain nerve tracts in the brain when we engage in a rewarding experience, such as finding food, clothing, shelter, or a sexual mate. I think also a mate, a friend, could be in there. Nature designed our brains to feel pleasure when these experiences happen because they increase our odds of survival and of procreation. So, now you know. Then we get Anna talking about why she decided to write the book. I wanted to tell readers what I'd learned from patients and from neuroscience about how to tackle compulsive overconsumption. Feel-good substances and behaviours increase dopamine's release in the brain's reward pathways. The brain responds to this increase by decreasing dopamine transmission, not just back down to the natural baseline, but below the baseline. Repeated exposure to the same or similar stimuli ultimately creates a chronic dopamine deficit state, wherein we're less able to experience pleasure. And you can probably extrapolate here that if we want to get that pleasure to the same level or back again, then maybe we are compelled to do more of the same, much more of the same, to increase what we've been doing. And then that could become a bit of a vicious cycle. The article goes on. The hypodermic delivers a drug right into our vascular system, which in turn delivers it right to the brain, making the drug more potent. The same is true for the smartphone. So the smartphone, this is a very interesting analogy, but its bright colours, flashing lights and engaging alerts delivers to our visual cortex images that are tough to resist. And the quantity is endless. TikTok never runs out. But it's not just TikTok. None of these platforms ever run out. So, this is the drug, or one potential. And then the article goes on. Then there's novelty. Dopamine is triggered by our brain's search and explore functions, telling us, hey, pay attention to this. Something new has come along. Add to that the AI algorithms that learn what we've liked before and suggest new things that are similar but not exactly the same, and we're off and running. So you can see that capturing of our need for novelty and also to notice change, I think, is in the mix. It's not mentioned there, but those alerts that come in, well, that's change in the environment. That's not only novelty, it could be danger, but we're on high alert to respond to it. Now, because we've also got dopamine in the mix, very often that reward pathway activated, then we're anticipating that this alert is good. Might not be, but you can see the novelty connected closely to anticipation of something good is extremely, alluring. And the AI that attempts to understand us is also very interesting. So we're going to get more of the same, or kind of like it. Not quite the same, because we need that bit of novelty. Interesting. Then we go into this article. This is by Edward Tumwine. I hope I pronounced that properly. I like this article. Nice, succinct. Again, link in the description. The psychology of social media, how platforms keep you hooked. The power of notifications. And it says here, these little red icons, or whatever colour they may be, pop-up messages trigger a release of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. And that's often also because there's that anticipation, as I was suggesting. Novelty, anticipation, this could be something good. Could be, oh, it's a like, oh wow, great. And I'd highlight the fact that it says trigger. So employ the use of notifications. These pop-up messages trigger, because these are triggers. This is part of something called a hook model that all the platforms employ. And the trigger can be internal, but this is an external trigger. Boom. Each time we receive that like, or comment or message, your brain's reward center is activated, reinforcing. And the reinforcement is key here. That's what it's about. It's reinforcing those pathways. It's reinforcing those behaviors to the point where they become automatic. To optimize this, platform strategically place notifications and use variable rewards, a concept borrowed from behavioral psychology. Users never know when they will receive that next like or comment, which keeps them coming back for more. And lots of studies have shown the power of unpredictability. It can be negative. It can cause people to be fearful, to be unsettled. And in this case, it can be positive. So if we knew it was going to come along, if you posted something and knew, well, I'm going to get 10 likes, they're from these people, then is that as compelling as something that is unknown, unpredictable to a degree? Oh, I got a like from so-and-so. Oh, 5 likes came in. Oh, there was a comment. And that can be very, very, very addictive. The scroll forever syndrome. Infinite scrolling, you've probably heard of that. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, of course. So we're wired to seek out new information and experiences. This is novelty. And when we scroll through endless feeds of posts, our brains are on a constant hunt for something fresh and exciting. Again, novelty. This keeps us engaged for extended periods as we anticipate the next interesting post around the corner. And remember that the algorithms are trying to feed us stuff that they think will be kind of interesting to us. Then, fear of missing out. Social media thrives on this, a potent psychological phenomenon. We're hardwired to be social creatures, most people anyway, and the fear of missing out on events, trends, news can be overwhelming. Social media platforms exploit this fear by showcasing the highlights of other people's lives, making us feel like we're missing out if we're not constantly connected. Yes, very powerful, very clever, and just a little bit sinister. Social validation. Humans inherently seek out approval from their peers. Social media capitalizes on this need by providing a platform where users can accumulate likes, comments, followers, and that can trigger a sense of accomplishment and self-worth. And that, I think, combined with personalized content, as I've talked about already, is, as I've suggested, very powerful, very potent. Now, here's the issue. Used in moderation and properly, social media can be very beneficial. Some studies have shown that people can feel less lonely, more connected. It can reduce anxiety. But other studies have shown that it can increase anxiety and depression. It's how it's used. It's what the content is. It's who we're interacting with. And my tuppence worth about this is, again, to raise awareness. We've got to be aware of that if we're not careful, we're simply pawns in the game. And I don't know about you, but I don't like that. I don't like that feeling at all. And to combat it, at least one way, of course, is to detox. Really useful, to switch off, to get away from it, get in nature, all that stuff. But also to realize this idea of fear of missing out. Well, you're not. If you decide to detox and step back from it, then if those friends that are there are real friends, they'll wait and they'll interact when you're back again. They may message you and let you know what's been happening. And if they're not friends, if they don't contact, then you've just been part of the wallpaper and have no real meaning to them.